Hi, everybody. We're continuing our fun unit, and we're going to look at our Day 2 article of blind boxes, a trend beyond just toys. And now we're going to dive in and take a little look further into the world of blind boxes and why it's something that people actually want to bother with in the first place. Have you ever bought a blind box in not the virtual world, but the physical world?
I don't think I have. No, as I said, I saw some at a fair this past summer, actually. And they were filled mostly, I guess, with manga and anime collectibles, figurines and stationery. And I think the guy said towels and stuff. I really wanted to buy one for my wife because, she's a fan of these things more than I am,
right.
But there weren't any there that she was really interested in. And I have to admit, I was more disappointed than she was. I tried to get a sale. I kind of asked the guy and he told me a few things that might be in them. And then he said, but I'm not supposed to tell you this or something like that. So I felt very lucky to have a bit of an insight. But yeah, in the end, I couldn't make the sale. I was never much of a salesperson. So I guess that trend has continued. But yeah, it sounds fun. And if there was something I was really interested in, I would definitely be wanting to buy one.
I think about 6 months or so ago, I saw one of these blind box, promotions at a 7-Eleven.
Oh, okay.
And it took me about a month to figure out what the heck was going on. I'm like, but all these figurines are listed on the outside of the box. Why is this? What is this? How do you know which one you're getting?
Okay.
And now in hindsight, I'm like, that's what that was. It reminds me of being a kid. And I have to say, as a kid, you go to McDonald's and you get your kids' meal. And inside the kids' meal, there would be something that you didn't know what it was going to be. Or like opening a box of Cracker Jacks and you open up the box of Cracker Jacks and there's a toy inside.
Right, those Kinder eggs.
Or cereal. Kinder eggs. Cereal had always a toy inside. And it left you with this uncertainty as to whether you were going to get the cool toy or not.
Very, very cool. I would definitely be interested in those book boxes, the blind book box.
Yeah, I bet you would.
I think that would be interesting. Or
Mike, I bet you would.
I've also heard of people getting blind record boxes.
Oh, that's the other thing you would love.
If you're a record collector like I am, that would be interesting. But I would be afraid I would get, 5 albums of terrible, terrible music. But I would definitely try it at least once and hope that I had at least, actually, I wouldn't mind some Rick Astley. Hope that there was at least one good book or one good record in there. And, the other thing is if you collect these things with your friends, then it's great. You can just trade the things that you might not want with the things
you get too many of.
Exactly, if you have doubles. So I think it's an interesting idea. But as you said, and as we mentioned earlier, when you pair blind boxes and the thrill of this discovery, the thrill of this sort of chance, this gamble that you're taking, and then you combine that with people's brains, especially young people, it can lead to people being a little bit blind about the threat or danger of these blind boxes.
I see what you did there. That was fun. I like that.
I went into that one with my eyes open.
That was very nice, not blind. So we're going to listen to our article one time now.
As the popularity of blind boxes has soared, many are left wondering, what makes these packages so irresistible? The primary attraction lies in the psychology of uncertainty and anticipation. The thrill of not knowing what's inside triggers the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. Opening a blind box stimulates the brain's reward circuits, boosting excitement and driving the desire to keep engaging with these boxes. Manufacturers of blind boxes exploit this psychological appeal by incorporating 1 or 2 hidden versions in each series. Collectors seeking to complete their collections often purchase medium sets that contain all designs. If a series features 8 regular styles, a medium set will contain 8 boxes. However, purchasing these sets does not guarantee the acquisition of hidden items, as they are randomly distributed. Whether or not they contain the hidden version depends on luck. This scarcity compels collectors to repeatedly buy boxes in hopes of finding rare treasures. Beyond mere acquisition, buying blind boxes often acts as a stress reliever. The act of purchasing and opening these boxes not only serves personal gratification, but also provides a temporary escape from daily stress. Moreover, collecting blind boxes is a way to express oneself and foster connections with peers who have similar passions. Those who own extra characters can even exchange them within fan communities. While collecting blind box toys has blossomed into a cultural phenomenon that brings joy and satisfaction, this hobby demands caution. The addictive nature of this hobby, similar to gambling, requires awareness and understanding of its psychological foundations. Armed with this knowledge, we can avoid the hobby's potential risks.
All right, so let's get into that brain. As the popularity of blind boxes has soared, you almost have to say that word like this, soared, many are left wondering what makes these packages so irresistible. So as these blind boxes have become very popular and the popularity has gone up extremely fast, that's when something soars. It goes from like a normal level to a really high level and you're soaring. A lot of times you can also say you're soaring through the sky, like if your favorite superhero, Superman, classic superhero, is flying through the sky. He's not just flying through the sky, he's soaring through the sky, going so very fast it's almost impossible to see him. But here, the popularity is going up so quickly, it's like it's flying up to the sky. And many people are left wondering, why are these things so irresistible? Why do people want them? Why can you not resist them? Why do you have to have them? A lot of times we say someone is irresistible, like babies for a lot of people are irresistible. Oh, look at your cute little cheeks. Puppy dogs are irresistible. I love puppy dogs. Kitty cats for other people are irresistible. And then, of course, Mike, you're irresistible as well.
Aww.
But the primary attraction lies in the psychology of uncertainty and anticipation. As we keep talking about that uncertainty, you don't know what's inside the box. So the primary attraction, the main, primary being main, attraction, thing that attracts you to something, right, lies in the psychology of uncertainty and anticipation. Anticipation is that waiting and hoping for something to happen and just like being excited that this thing's going to happen. And the one that I think of the most with that is children having this big anticipation for Santa Claus to come on Christmas Eve and bring gifts. That's something you wait for and you hope for and you're so excited about.
Very, very interesting. And then it goes on to say, the thrill of not knowing what's inside triggers the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. So yeah, someone might have come up with the idea of blind boxes sort of by accident, just as an interesting way of getting rid of some of their old stock, but it's actually really reaching deep into our brains and causing a physical response. And, the part of the brain that we don't really think about, it just sort of happens. This is the release of this chemical. I guess it's a neurochemical or a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which along with serotonin and maybe a few others, these are often known as the happy chemicals. These are the ones that your brain releases when you're doing things that you enjoy, things that give you pleasure, often eating chocolate or being in love, all of these types of activities that we associate with enjoyment and fun and pleasure, things we like. They are often, we like them because the dopamine in our brain is making us like them. Often our emotions are really just chemicals that are bouncing around in our brain, making us feel certain ways. So dopamine is one of those. It's connected with, nice things like being in love, but it can also be connected with, taking drugs like cocaine or gambling when you have a problem. And that's why it's difficult to quit some of these behaviors because we get hooked on not just the drug or the activity, but the dopamine that's released in our brains. And this neurotransmitter, this neurochemical, something produced naturally by our body, dopamine, is associated, you can also say, with pleasure and reward. So when we do well, we give ourselves a little dopamine. When we get a little pat on the back and the boss says, good job, we get dopamine. When we get that test back and we see we got 100%, we get dopamine. Or when we, pull out our dog's favorite toy and the dog is running around because it knows it's time to go to the park and chase that ball. That dog is being overwhelmed with dopamine. That's causing it to look so happy and to have its tail wag back and forth in the same way that we do the human version of that when we're doing things that give us pleasure. Blame the dopamine or thank the dopamine. Now it says opening a blind box stimulates the brain's reward circuit. So that's what happens. When the blind box is opened, this stimulates your brain and it releases this dopamine. These are your brain's reward circuits. Now, when we say circuits, this is kind of like the wiring inside a machine. So if you think of what you see, on a chipboard or on a motherboard or something like that, those are circuits. Or if you think of the inside of an older type of electronic machine or an electric machine with wires and diodes and circuits and things like that. Circuitry, this is basically wiring, how it's all connected. Now, of course, our brains don't work that way. We are not robots. We are not machines. We are made up of flesh and blood. But in the same similar way, there's a network of nerves. There's a network of these neurochemicals. It all connects together. It all works together as one sort of organized unit. That's what we're talking about here when we say reward circuits. In the same way that a machine is wired to do things in a certain way, our bodies and brains are wired, although not by actual physical wires, but they're organized and planned out, and they work in a way that is very similar. And it boosts excitement, and it drives the desire to keep engaging with these boxes. So this is what dopamine is. It's that rat that's kind of hitting the little button to get a food reward every time it feels like it. And that's okay until you get kind of hooked on it or addicted to it. And that's in that case, it can be bad if you lose control.
And it's also okay, except for the fact that manufacturers know how to exploit this. So if we see in our next sentence, manufacturers of blind boxes, those who make these blind boxes, exploit this psychological appeal by incorporating one or two hidden versions in each series. So the people who make these blind boxes, they take advantage, they take advantage of this psychological appeal. So this is talking about, the psychological is talking about your brain and your brain chemistry and how your brain reacts to situations. Those will be psychological reactions that you're having. Here, your psychological appeal is your brain is telling you, you want this thing. It's wonderful. I love this thing. That's the appeal, right? It's drawing you in. It's making you be very excited about that box that's sealed that you don't know what's inside. And they do this by, how do these manufacturers do this? They do this by incorporating or bringing in one or two hidden versions in each series. So they don't just give you the normal characters. They add in this one magic character. And if you find them, wow, you found the best one ever. It's the really magical one. Collectors seeking to complete their collections often purchase medium sets that contain all designs. If a series features 8 regular styles, a medium set will contain 8 boxes. So you can buy the full set, basically, but that takes away a little bit of the uncertainty. However, purchasing these sets, here we go, does not necessarily guarantee the acquisition of hidden items. So you might get the 8 standard ones, but you might not get, the acquisition means the getting of a hidden item. So one of these really scarce, one of these really difficult to find hidden items, well, those are not around so easily because they are randomly distributed. So they're here and there. Whether or not they contain the hidden version depends on luck. So we're back to that fudai, that lucky bag, right? If you're lucky, you get the hidden item too. This scarcity, this lack of these hidden items compels collectors to repeatedly buy boxes in hopes of finding rare treasures. Scarcity here is talking about the scarcity of the hidden items. Scarcity might be talking about scarcity of food, where you're really where you're dealing with a very difficult time where you can't find food or food isn't able to grow because there's a scarcity of water, scarcity of rainfall. So there's a lack of or a very little amount of a thing. And this really makes it even more exciting to keep looking for your hidden items. And it's not just the standard 8. Manufacturers know you want more. They're going to give you just a little bit more to keep you opening more and more boxes. Let's take a little break here, and we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师，今天讲解的是12月4号 Unit2 Blind Boxes, A Trend Beyond Just Toys 第2天的课程内容。到底为什么会有这么多商品，他们在行销的时候都有盲盒的元素呢？在第2天课程内容，我们就了解到，因为这种行销背后是有心理学的理论基础的。大家都喜欢惊喜，打开盲盒的那一刹那，也启动了我们体内多巴胺的释放。不过， 喜欢收集盲盒内容物的朋友可能要特别小心，有一些人呢是会沉溺在当中无法自拔的。好，那我们一起来看学习重点吧。请看到第一段第一个句子 As the popularity of blind boxes has soared。 好，那其实就是指这一类的商品越来越受欢迎。 Popularity soared 请把它画起来，这是词语搭配，越来越受欢迎。 Many are left wondering， 那这边的 many 后面其实省略了 people， Many people are left wondering， 那很多人呢其实就会去想，那想什么问题呢？就在后面 What makes these packages so irresistible？ 那 irresistible 那就表示这些产品相当吸引人，那几乎呢我们是没办法抵抗的。那到底有什么秘诀？ The primary attraction lies in， 那请同学呢就把 lie in 这个动词片语画起来，就在于主要的吸引力就在于哪里？好，那请同学呢看到我们的第三个句子。第三个句子在句子后半段这个部分呢，有一个过去分词 associated with， 那请同学要特别的注意哦，这是个过去分词，用来呢跟我们进一步说明什么？前面的这个 neurotransmitter， 那就是神经传递物质，怎么样呢？那其实前面 associated with 前面省略了 which is， 就是这个 which 当然就是代替 neurotransmitter 神经传递物质，它是与什么有关的， be associated with 就是与什么有关的。好，那再来我们看到第二段的第一个句子 Manufacturers of blind boxes exploit， 这里的 exploit 是主要动词，那就是我们说的利用。 exploit 倒未必一定是负面的动词，那有时候呢它其实也就只是像这里它会去利用这个特点。那但是 exploit 如果前面像主词是老板或者是什么，那我们通常会有不好的联想，会想成是剥削劳工，那 exploit 其实也是有这方面的意思。再来呢，我们看一下第二个句子，有很多人会收集盲盒里面的内容物，为什么？因为他们想要收集一整组完整的这些玩具，一系列的玩具，所以动词我们用 complete their collections， 他们希望呢能够完成他们非常完整的收藏。再来的话，我们就看到第二段的第五个句子。第五个句子这边，其实我们都不知道盲盒里面到底有没有我们想要那个隐藏版的玩具，那所以就要看运气 ，depends on luck， 这就叫看我们个人的运气了。好，那第六个句子，这个动词 This scarcity compels collectors to， 这里的动词 compel 很重要。那我们知道说隐藏版的这一些玩具是比较少有的，所以迫使谁？迫使有心要收藏的人得做后面这件事情，他们可能会不断的买，就只为了要收藏那个隐藏版。
All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back. Coming back in, it says, beyond mere acquisition, besides just getting the thing, buying blind boxes often acts as a stress reliever, right? So you're like, yay, I got a box. Yay, it has the figure I want. The act of purchasing and opening these boxes not only serves personal gratification, but also provides a temporary escape from daily stress. So it gives you personal gratification meaning a sense of happiness, a sense of satisfaction, a sense of pleasure, a sense of just like general yeah. So you get your general yeah when you open this box, but it also gives you a little escape from daily stress. Maybe you're like, I got to work all day long, but you know what? My work is going to allow me to buy 3 boxes tonight. So you have all the stress of working, but you get to go buy your 3 boxes and with a smile, you open them up to see if you got your magic figures you're looking for.
That is great, but of course, everything in moderation. You don't want to be buying three boxes, then 6, then 9, and suddenly 33, then 300, and suddenly you have no job, and all you do is walk around looking for change so you can buy more blind boxes. So doing it a little bit, of course, like anything that you do to relieve your stress temporarily is good, but it won't fix the problem in the end, right? So moreover, here's another good thing about collecting them. Collecting blind boxes is a way to express oneself and foster connections with peers who have similar passions. Yes, a lot of these different, whatever it is, anime, manga, video game, your favorite band, your favorite movie, they have huge fan communities, and that can be a wonderful way of making new friends, sharing your hobbies and interests and passions with like-minded people who also enjoy similar things. And who knows, friendships and even marriages and relationships have come out of these. You can meet a lot of interesting people when you start to spend time with your peers. Your peers is kind of your equals, people like you. It could be people who do similar work with you. It could be people who are the same age as you at school or in a similar class with you. It could be people who enjoy the same hobbies or pastimes or activities as you. They're just people kind of like you who you may or may not have a friendship with because you have some overlapping or similar interests and concerns. And in this way, passions, they also say. You're a fan of a certain thing, just like other folks. Those who own extra characters can even exchange them within fan communities. So yes, if you find you have a lot of peers and you kind of network with them either in real life or online, then you have this whole audience, this whole group of people that you can exchange some of your toys, some of the things you collect. Maybe you have too many of them. You have doubles or triples, as we might say. If you have 2 or 3 things and you only need one, you can exchange them. You can trade them within these fan communities, and a community is a group of people with some kind of social connection. It could be a family, it could be people who live in the same town, people from the same tribe, to go back to way people used to organize, or it can these days often be around your interests. A fan community of people who like the same baseball team, or people who enjoy the same kind of music, or anything like that. You can make friends with these people, and of course they can also make friends with you, and you can exchange all sorts of things, including unwanted toys.
But here we have while collecting blind box toys, as you were mentioning, has blossomed into a cultural phenomenon that brings joy and satisfaction. You need a little bit of caution. You need it to be a little bit careful, okay? So while collecting these toys has blossomed into a cultural phenomenon. It has become something that is seen everywhere. People love to do it. Societies are like, yeah, let's do this. If it's blossomed into it, it's gone from being a boring little flower bud into a full-blown flower. And a lot of times we talk about things blossoming overnight. It's like something becomes immediately popular. Blossoming is the process of the flower bud becoming the full flower, right? But here we are talking about the blossoming of the popularity of these blind box toys, because they do bring you that joy and satisfaction, as we mentioned earlier. However, you need to be a little careful. This hobby demands caution. This hobby means you need to be a little careful. Why? Well, because it's addictive. The addictive nature of this hobby, similar to gambling, requires, as you were saying earlier, requires awareness and understanding of its psychological foundations. So the hobby is very addictive. As you were saying, you might buy 1, you might buy 2, get to 300. You're out on the streets looking for change, right, to get your next toy. That would be something that's very addictive. It's like if you have your first piece of candy and you're like, oh my God, and you have to eat 5 more bags of candy because you are addicted to eating that candy. You want more and more of that thing. Like gambling, if you gamble, you lose some money, you're like, not going to quit, probably. You're going to go, I'm going to do it again. More and more of the same thing because you get addicted to it. So you need to have awareness. You need to be aware, and you need to have an understanding of its psychological foundations. Foundations here is the basis, or like where things start or how something is created. And the foundations here is talking about psychological foundations. It's the elements of how this blind box addiction can come about and why it affects you and how it can make you want to addictively buy more and more of a thing. Armed with this knowledge, we can avoid the hobby's potential risks. So if you know about it, you can ideally stay away from the dangers and go ahead and open up a few boxes and have a little bit of fun. All right, let's take a break again, and we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher.
好，那第三段呢，让我们了解到，其实在购买盲盒的时候，到底会对我们产生什么样子的作用？第一个句子就告诉我们，其实呢，有助于释放压力 ，stress reliever。我们说释放压力的时候，动词我们会用 relieve somebody of stress， 让什么人的压力得到释放了。那这里呢，我们用名词，那就表示呢，做这件事情其实是有助于我们释放压力的。再来第二个句子，那我们看到主要动词的部分哦。好，就是去买盲盒、打开盲盒的时候呢，其实它怎么样 ？serves personal gratification， 所以它有一个作用 ，serve 那就发挥什么样子的作用？它可以呢让我们感到满足。那此外 ，but also provides， 那这样子的购买呢，还有另外一个作用是 a temporary escape from daily stress， 也可以让我们呢免于平常的压力。好，再来呢，请同学看到第三个句子。第三个句子在 and 后面的这个动词 foster， 请同学画起来。就我们在收藏盲盒的时候，其实它有助于我们和其他的同侪之间的连结 foster connections。这个 foster 其实就是有促进的意思。foster 这里呢，你可以把它解读成促进，它有助于我们和同侪之间的连结。为什么呢？因为大家都想要有那个隐藏版的玩具嘛，那有时候多余的东西我们就会交易出去，就会和别人呢有情感的联络。再来，我们看到第四段的第一个句子 While collecting blind box toys， 好，虽然呢收集这种盲盒的玩具怎么样呢？主要的动词在这里 has blossomed into， blossom 原本呢当名词是开花，这个花，那这里呢当作动词来用，那其实就表示它发展的非常的好嘛，那已经俨然成为一种文化现象。It has blossomed into a cultural phenomenon。 好，那这样子的文化现象是不是全然是正面的呢？后面我们看到主要子句的部分 This hobby demands caution， 有这种嗜好的人要特别小心哦。Demands caution， 那 caution 这里当然就是谨慎的意思，所以有这样的嗜好的人需要特别谨慎小心。最后第三个句子 Armed with this knowledge， 后面 we can， 那这是一个分词构句，前面的主词呢一样是 we， 我们有了这一项知识，这里 be armed with 就是拥有什么。好，以上就是我们针对第二天课程内容所做的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
And so we're back once again, and we are just looking at this problem all around. Is it a problem or is it fun? Is it a problem or is it fun? All I know is I kind of want to go out and try a blind box purchase. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I think that would be kind of a neat thing to do. And I'm actually thinking of what else could you package in blind boxes like this? You know, like maybe restaurant coupons. So you just buy one and it gives you, a couple of free meals or, discount meals at restaurants you've never heard of. That might be another way of discovering things that you don't know about.
Absolutely. Yeah, like the bus that goes through town and you can sit in it. And
the mystery bus.
The mystery bus. And you can ride around and eat dinner.
People used to do that, right? It wasn't just a Beatles song. They used to take mystery tours. You'd get on a bus and they would drive you to places and you don't know where you're going.
This could be fun. This would be a way to do it. Blind box your next bus ride.
There you go. Blind box your next language class. You can open it up and discover, hey, today I'm learning Portuguese.
Yeah.
I'm not sure everything would work in a blind box now I think about it.
All right, everybody. For English Digest, I'm Leah.
And I'm Mike.
We'll see you next time.